Ice conditions look pretty good here today. It is Sunday, January 15th on Lake Petenwell, about 2:30 in the afternoon. Half an inch-ish, a quarter inch to half an inch of snow on top of some reasonably smooth ice. Sounds like the thickness is around 11 in the channel where folks are fishing. And word a week ago was that it was well over a foot on the main part of the lake. Drones flying to the southwest right now. This would be typically where we would set up at least one of the courses. The point off to the kind of the right is where the fishermen are fishing. That's really kind of the extent of where you want to go. The ice does get sometimes a little iffy on thickness over there. But the lake's about 2 miles wide, so there's plenty of room to sail. Typically from about where the group of fishermen are off to the right and then extending to the east is usually a pretty good shove, and the camera's going to get there in a minute. There's some cracking, but nothing shoved up, and where I'm seeing some cracking, it only looks like it's maybe a foot or so wide in that spot. And then from what I could tell, south of that looks pretty good. So here we're just going to circle what would normally be one good size race area. Both of those points we're kind of looking northwest. Both of those points, but especially the point furthest away, you don't want to sail anywhere near that. The channel goes right by it, and it's fairly narrow, and so the ice thickness can change greatly. The other point's not too bad. The water's pretty shallow in general, and the channel cuts across. But just to play it safe, if you're out sailing, just stay away from any of the points on the west side of the lake. We're looking north now. The lure is just coming into view on the right, and that bay to that next point that's right in the center of the screen, that's generally pretty safe sailing. I don't like to go further north than that because again, the conditions tend to change and not be incredibly predictable. Everything in here from the lure out, except for the channel, is probably only about 7 to 10 feet deep. Then the channel gets maybe 20, 25 in some places. The channel meanders around. You'd have to look at a map. Here we're looking off to the east. The drones are kind of moving towards the south. This again is part of the 2 to 5 square mile area that I normally sail and what we've raced in the past. And now we're looking south. The first point is the bay north of the Adams County Park, and the second point off in the distance is the Adams County Park. Then the lake continues another 6 miles to the horizon down by the dam. So there's lots of opportunity, I think. The way the ice looks right now, you can see I'm flying right over a crack. I'm going to fly down and take a look at it, but it's probably only 12 to 15 inches, and it's frozen across. So, and you'll see in a second it doesn't continue. But that is generally a stress point, and that thing generally will cut across all the way across the lake there. So if you're just ripping from one end of the lake to the other, you've got to pay attention to this. So right now we're looking southeast. What we're coming down on is just that track right in the center is just a sled that was being pulled behind a four-wheeler. So you can kind of judge, you know, that crack's probably a foot-ish. That's a snowmobile track, I think, there. And then you can see it kind of goes away, curls back. Once we get some altitude again, though, you'll see that there is another one that's been froze over, but it's not displaced. Right there's one. So again, this part of the lake is generally kind of a boundary. You'll cross it, stay on the south side of it, or cross it and stay on the north side of it. The last WSSA we had was on this part of the lake, and from what I could tell, this looked really good too. Now we're looking east. You can see right underneath the camera is probably the big fault, but it's not shoved at this point. So it gives you an idea what the ice conditions look like. I do think it's favorable for a regatta this coming weekend, as long as we don't get any more snow. If this snow would melt away, it would be really fantastic. I didn't sail on this, but it's not really styrofoamy, and it's very thin, so I don't think it's going to affect the performance of the boats a whole lot. And that's about it. The rest of the video, we're heading northeast now, and it's just going to be a flyby back up to the lure if you want to see what the ice looks like at mast height, maybe a little higher. The drone will drop down here in a second. The tracks you're seeing are from quads and side-by-sides. Didn't see a lot of vehicle traffic out there, although the owner of the lure said that he had been back and forth across the lake a number of times in his pickup truck. But these tracks are, if you're trying to gauge some perspective, these are a snowmobile and like a quad or a UTV.